So, we've been getting a lot of questions like, I thought you were building a house. Why are you guys still in tents? Are you guys legitimately crazy? Where is that fifth wheel? Wait, you don't have electricity? Wait, are you guys recycling your urine for drinking water? Did you guys move? What's going on? So anyway, we're gonna try and clarify a few things. I don't know, maybe we'll just confuse you a little more. Might be more fun. We're gonna start at the very beginning.
Who are
We
we?
are the Harris clan. This is
Jeff?
Jeff. I'm Ingrid. We have 6 kids. Our oldest is 9 and our youngest just turned 2.
Yep, you heard that correctly.
Yep, we had 6 kids in 7 years. So if you don't already think we're crazy, you will by the end of this video.
What are we doing?
All right, so we are building 2 houses with our bare hands.
Yep.
So with this build, we're gonna have some pretty unique concepts that we're integrating into Jeff's design.
Yeah, so the whole house will be done with ICF construction, which is insulated concrete form. Just imagine a bunch of Legos made out of styrofoam, all snapped together on each side of the form. They are the form. Then you pour the concrete in between those two, and then it's just this solid wall of awesome insulation. Where were we?
You were talking about the ICF. So basically what Jeff is trying to say is by the end of this, we're gonna be master builders.
Yeah. Insulation.
So all of our walls, even on the ground floor, will be concrete instead of stick.
Yeah, so the foundation wall will be concrete, the above ground wall will be concrete, so
Our flooring,
and the flooring will be concrete with in-floor heating through geothermal. So it'll have a geothermal system that heats and has the ability to cool the floor for whatever part of the year you want it to do. And then it'll also have geothermal air HVAC. So if there's not enough heat being produced by the floor for the winter, then you can have it supplemented by the HVAC system. And
we'll also be doing a septic system.
yeah, so a septic, that's pretty basic. There's nothing really special about it.
We just don't have the option for city
we're on the top of
sewer.
a mesa here. There's not any sewer lines anywhere nearby.
We'll be doing solar.
Yeah, we had solar at our old house, and you basically just replace the cost of your electric bill with the cost of solar panels. Like, we didn't even have an electric bill because we were paying for the solar panels. But in this build, we'll be paying for it up front. It's not like we'll be having a payment on it. So once it's all installed, we won't have a power bill.
Between the concrete construction, the geothermal, the solar, we're gonna have a pretty energy efficient home.
Yeah, it's a hummingbird. I love the idea of concrete floors because our kids are destructive and will ruin a wood floor really fast. Polished concrete floors everywhere in the house. It'll be amazing.
Between 6 kids and 3 dogs, we don't want carpet or wood
flooring
or
that could
any
get
of that.
messed up.
Anyway, this house will have a theater room. There will be 3 tiers of seating.
Yes. And we'll have an American Ninja Warrior room that has a lower portion that allows for a foam pit so that it's really safe.
And our previous house had an American Ninja Warrior room as well, and it had a foam pit. But this foam pit is actually going to have a suspended trampoline underneath the foam, and so it'll be super...
And the space will allow for adult use,
Yeah.
whereas the one that we had at our old house was just for...
Yeah, strictly for our kids.
Hey, Mommy! How can you touch You're doing great, Dad. It's not. He's too big to break. He's sweet.
If you tried to use it, you had to like lift your legs up off of the ground and hang on stuff, and otherwise they'd drag in the foam pit. But this one will be big enough.
So, how are we paying for this?
All right, now budget. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, it wasn't going to be so crazy until circumstances changed. So we were originally working with like a $600,000 budget. I wasn't sure exactly how much it was going to cost, but I knew that it was going to get pricey really fast. And so I was giving myself like a pretty high number. And then when it came time to sell our house and move, our circumstances changed so that now we don't have the income that I had before. And so
We have zero income.
yeah.
He doesn't have a job. So we have a chunk of money that we
Yeah.
made off of the sale of our home, but it's not going to take us super far.
No, it'll get us maybe to the roof. if we are really frugal with our spending, are just kind of risking everything, and we're gonna see how far we can get on this budget.
Because we've had to buy things to make the whole camp life work, but a chunk of what we made off of the sale of our house is going to have to go towards a fifth wheel here pretty soon,
Yeah.
so that we can live in that during construction. Because I mean, it's already getting colder.
Yep.
We're not going to be able to stay in tents.
Animals are gonna be moving into the area. We're
Yeah,
gonna
like
get
mountain
involved.
lions and bears and all that
Tigers.
fun stuff.
Oh my.
Yeah. Oh my. We said originally we were going to see how far the chunk of money that we made off the sale of our home would take us, and then we were going to finance the rest. And financing wasn't going to be an issue with my husband's employment. He had worked for the same company for 15 years. He was making a fair amount of money. With his losing his job a couple months ago, that kind of puts a wrench in that. So we're kind of looking into our other options and going ahead. And we own our land outright. We bought it probably about 10 months ago. What we did to acquire the land was we had equity in our home that we had remodeled and done some pretty extensive projects on, and so we were able to get a HELOC, and we used not even half of our HELOC to purchase. It doesn't have water or electric or any of that pre-run, so you know there's some expense in getting that stuff done ourselves, but $42,000 for 35 acres in Colorado up on top of a mesa with 360-degree views is a heck of a deal. And this particular lot just had features that really spoke to us. We can do rock climbing and hiking and all kinds of things on our own property and just really explore and have fun with our family. Now, Perc tests, those are pretty typical. We've got to do a Perc test since we are doing a septic system. We also have to do, I believe it's called radon testing. We've got to check for gamma radiation levels and stuff in the soil. There's also expansive soils out here, and so we need to do an expansive soil test so that we don't have foundational issues. We would just need to backfill with a more conducive soil.
No, we didn't have a house.
So the answer to that question is we have no idea when we'll have a house. I mean, we thought that we were going to have power and be in a fifth wheel already. And we're on week 3 of camping. And it's looking like it's going to be at least another 2 weeks before we actually have power run. So it also depends on whether Jeff has to go back into the work field and how much time he'll actually have to work on our home. If he could pour all of his energy and time into building this house, it would happen a lot faster. So when will we have a home? What's our timeline? It's not up to us. We have no idea.
So, what qualifies you to do this?
Qualifications.
We don't have any qualifications.
We've watched a few YouTube videos.
Yeah, DIY. I mean,
So you could probably say we're professionals.
yeah, we're professionals because we can watch YouTube videos of how to do stuff. No, that's not really the case.
I mean, we do have some experience with these things. Jeff, he designed our house. We mentioned that. He took 5 years of drafting. And he designed a few homes while he was in those classes. Like you designed.
I designed my dad's remodel for his house on
Yeah.
the Caloosahatchee.
It was kind of like a tear down to bare bones, right?
Yeah, we got rid of the whole upstairs. It was all dormer attic style, and we took that down and created a whole new living space from the attic floor up.
So he designed that and then was involved in the rebuilding and the demo.
Yeah, and then I got involved in custom finished carpentry and remodels and handyman work.
And we had a little side gig
Yeah,
there for a while
it
where
was
we
all
did that.
it was all word of mouth business. We never advertised for anything, and I was always busy. And it's what I'd really like to do, but I was never strong enough to pull the trigger to say I'm gonna do this full time. And so now that our circumstances have changed and I've kind of seen the light, I think that we could possibly pull this off, and it'll be worth exploring this idea that I could do this as a business now.
Well, and
Instead of going and working for somebody else again.
Yeah.
And being unhappy, because anybody who works for somebody else, you always have bad days, and you always know that you're at their mercy for your employment and for your paycheck. And so I want to change that. I want to work for myself now. I always have wanted to work for myself, but I never had the courage to pull the trigger and take that risk. But now we're doing it. We're finally
we've
doing
been kind of pushed out of our
it. comfort zone
and forced to do the things that we've always wanted to do, and it's been pretty liberating so far. But yeah, we did tons of remodel stuff on our previous house.
Yeah.
Lots of projects. And we did, on a small scale, we built our shop from the ground
Yeah,
up.
it's not quite as strict as like building a home.
Yeah. I mean, sewer,
Basically all the
and
same stuff though.
electrical and foundation and all of that stuff, just on a smaller scale.
Yeah.
We have experience in most of the aspects. It's the real learning curve has been the red tape and the permitting and all of that.
And there's going to be a lot of stuff in the build that is going to be also stepping outside of our comfort zone. We've never done it before, but we have the confidence and the understanding of concepts. There's a lot of things that I am looking at this build and I'm like, I'm going to need some kind of guidance on this because I've never done this before. But our budget is so tight that I'm gonna have to just figure out how to do it on my own and spare the expense so that we can afford to do it. Like a pool, you pay somebody to install a pool. It can cost over $200,000, and it's because they have the equipment to do that. They've got a gunite sprayer and a crew of people that know how to work concrete, and this is one of those things that I'm like, I gotta figure out how to do this on my own. I don't have a gunite sprayer. Can I rent one? Is there a way to do this without spraying it? I gotta figure these things out. Little things like that. Little things.
Yeah.
Big things like that.
They seem like little things because they're so far off in the distance.
Yeah. As long as the place has a shower, I think that I'll be okay.
Why are we doing this?
Why are we doing this?
Why are we doing this? We're crazy.
We know this is what we're supposed to be doing
Oh my gosh.
and where we're supposed to be, but
We owned a house before, and whenever you buy an existing house, there's always like little things that you wish were different about it. And in the case of our last house that we had to undo lots of stuff to do it the way that we wanted to do, and it ends up costing more money than just doing it right the first time or doing it the way that you wanted the first time. So we decided to design our own house that will be built from scratch exactly how we want it. And the reason that we're doing it ourselves is because you can build twice the house on
The same budget.
Compared to hiring a builder to do it, because you have to realize when you hire a builder, you're paying the builder. Then the builder has to pay the subcontractors. The subcontractors have to pay their subcontractors. So there's all these derivatives of money that are just exchanging hands so that everybody can make money and make it worth their time. And so you can actually put more money towards material costs if you do all the labor yourself. Then you have more equity in the home and you can get more for your money. So I have a hard time paying other people to do stuff that I know that I can do myself. And so I feel confident that we can do this by ourselves. Having never done it before, I know it's going to be difficult. It's going to have some complications with politics and stuff like that, with the planning department,
Red
the
tape.
building department, all the hoops that you have to jump through with permitting and inspections and stuff like that, and figuring out exactly what codes are for your area and stuff like that. That's just stuff that you have to do. That would be the advantage to hiring a contractor, because they would already know all that stuff or have really easy access to figure that stuff all out because they're more experienced. So we don't really have the experience doing it, but we will by the time we're done building this house.
Plus, we're just gluttons for punishment. We like to make things hard.
I don't like to make things hard.
Okay. We're good at making things hard. Maybe we don't like to do it, but we're good at it.
Yeah. Well, it's mostly the fact that we have 6 kids under tow
Yeah.
at all times.
But that was one of the other main motivators, was we wanted more
Family
time.
Yeah.
Originally, Jeff was going to transfer with his job, and he was going to be able to work less days a week. We were actually going to be able to see him more, and so that was one of the things that really pushed us to make this move, was so that we could have that quality family time that we just weren't able to have before in our situation.
Yeah, I was always at work. I never saw my family, and when I lost my job and I started spending more time at home, it was just like this place that I came to that made it difficult to want to just jump right back into working for another company that was calling the shots. I have business ideas of things that I could do, but my priority right now is trying to get our family inside of a house, and I can't work and build this house at the same time at the rate that it needs to be done, so that we can be under shelter before it gets cold. So all of our time is going to be completely devoted to building a house together as a family.
Yeah, we wanted to be able to really give them some life experience.
And some perspective,
Yeah.
because their life was so easy before. And when I was growing up, I didn't have it easy. I didn't know where my next meal was coming from as a kid. I didn't know where my clothes were coming from. I had to depend completely on the kindness of strangers to clothe us a lot of times.
Well, and they didn't treat our last house with like the best respect. They didn't really appreciate what they had. They would break things, and I know that's kids, but I feel like maybe if they're involved and they're having to work and they see all the work that goes into building a home.
Well, and they experience what we're going through right now with camping and not having the amenities that we have. We don't have running water. We don't have power. We don't have the ability to wash our clothes at any moment. We don't have...
We were pooping and peeing out in the wild. We did get a porta potty.
Got a bathroom.
Yep.
And that has changed our lives, but it's still like not ideal.
Yeah. Before we had 3 bathrooms, and now we just have 1 porta potty and nature. So
We've been putting packages of sausages on top of our
Fixing to make some lunch, y'all. Sausages up here on top of the trailer, and
Let the sun do the rest.
like 45 minutes to an hour, and they'll be ready to eat.
Get warm.
Yeah, that's one of the other things that we've taken for granted is having the ability to warm up food in an instant. We had microwave, we had stove. So this is helping all of us to gain an appreciation for these things that we took for granted the whole time that we lived a more comfortable lifestyle. And so this is just going to help our kids get a little bit better perspective and have a better attitude towards their circumstance, that their life actually doesn't suck like they think it does, because now they are experiencing what it feels like to have their life suck, because we're kind of homeless right now.
Yeah, which is why we look
Yes.
homeless, is because we are.
Yep. We don't have showers, so we're filthy most of the time.
But more than anything, we want to show our kids what you can do. When you
Yeah.
sacrifice, when you risk a little bit, when you really just go for something, that you can make it happen. And that all of the hard work, all of the uncomfortable living conditions, all of that is worth it, because what you get in the end is
Yeah.
beautiful.
You can't have big rewards without big risk and sacrifice, and you just have a greater appreciation for the end result when you go through trials, and that is exactly what is going on.
Yep,
since
we are scaling.
sold our house.
We are scaling a super steep mountain right now, and it's probably just going to get steeper. But
Yeah, and
the view from up there is going to be awesome.
yeah,